Good evening, everyone. This video is going to be a trading review and support session for April the 5th, 2023. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a big picture look on how the dailies have been progressing. And we had 4 up days. And then yesterday was something of a down day. So I was certainly anticipating today to be a down day, and it turned out to be correct. It fooled me just a little bit in the morning, but I kind of stuck with it and did what I needed to do. But I was not super efficient today, so it ended up being a down day. We're a little bit down from where we closed today as well. And if we took a look at how the morning and the overnight progressed on the big picture chart, we can see that it really wasn't doing too much. I mean, London opened here, right? It really wasn't too much overnight. London brought it back down to not quite the yesterday's low area. And then we had some news at 6:45 and at 7. So let me get into the opening area. Here's about the open. And this is where I thought we were going to, kind of a push down maybe a little bit, but I jumped the gun a little bit, and I had to fight it a little bit. It ended up coming all the way back up to the daily bias area, but about 7 we had some 7 o'clock news, and that sent it down, and it kept going down. Little up move towards the end of the day. But overall, as you saw, it was kind of a down day. So here's kind of what I mean by kind of getting. I had an opinion, and the opinion wasn't wrong. I just had the bad timing. So here's my first entry. I mean, it had kind of broken down under everything, but I didn't anticipate it going. So I was trying to get a trade in, but didn't anticipate it shooting all the way back up here. Right, it shot up very quickly up into the 5-minute moving average, right, and by the beginnings of the edge of the new EMA band. So pretty good down bar. So I've been getting out of these lately with just 1 or 2, but it surprised me a little bit. Came all the way back up into mid S1 and kind of up into the 2x200 area. So it actually being up in the quickly up into the new guide band and actually exceeded it, as you can see by a couple of ticks. It actually gave me a little bit of confidence to go ahead and add to it and play it on the way out. So I added to it there, and then added to it again there. I then didn't want to add to it anymore. I mean, it was scaring me a little bit back up into to a kind of like an exact double top kind of an area, right? And then, I would have probably added to it if I thought I needed to, but I was able to get out right around the EMA. So I kind of kept with my opinion that it was going to be a kind of a down kind of a morning. So that was the first trade. It wasn't very efficient, but it was profitable. And then I was trading my opinion again a little bit before the Ultraflex this time, but it was bouncing off, had pretty good rejection off of the VWAP, right? So I added to it here, had to add to it again here. Didn't get a very good entry on the second one, so it really didn't help me that much. So I think I had 2 on that one, and was out down here prior to exceeding the 3-minute close there. That was that trade. And remember, we did have 6:45 news. Scoot back over into the 6:45 news kind of time frame. Let that one happen. So I think these were these first one was kind of like going back and forth, right? I think those 2 were the ones that I had to fight the most. And I did have to use 2 on this one as well. I for whatever reason, this is right after the news, I still thought about a continuation, right? So maybe some continuation in that trade, and the volume was, was not a high volume day at all, right? And so I had to add to it a couple of times before 7 o'clock just to be able to get these trades. So I added a second one here and was out there, and then same thing here, right? Going, didn't want to make a new high, so went short here, right? And added to it here. Let's see what's going on here. Is that? Let me go back and double check my trading chart, because something about that doesn't look right. See, rolling back to the 650 kind of time frame. Okay, all right, so I didn't see the first entry. So here is the first entry, right? Still kind of trading my opinion a little bit, expecting it to come down, and it didn't want to break. Added to it here, right, after kind of a rejection here, didn't want to break. Added to it again here, right, didn't want to break. So I guess I did have one more. Oh yeah, this is the one where I actually took had some of the trade going into the 7 o'clock news. So 1, 2, 3, added to it again here. Kind of we really wanted to get out before the 7 o'clock news, and so I'm going to have to move this over to get the next one, and then finally added to it here, right? Last add here. That helped me, and so I needed, this was where I started the exit, and so I got out of 2 here, and I was trying to get out of the other one at that particular point, but it did not work, and so I was kind of riding it through, and here comes the 7 o'clock news. So I'm partially out, but not completely out, and so the 7 o'clock news happens. It scared me a little bit. Because it spiked back up to here, to the double top area plus 1 tick, but then it came right back down, and I think I had actually moved my exit up a little bit to settle for a little bit less profit, and so fortunately I got out with having to do anything real crazy, like reverse or anything like that. So at that point, right, everything started to be better, right? So after 7 o'clock, news is all out. So here's one trade, another trade here and out, and there's another trade here and out, and another trade. I waited to pull back up to the EMA, right? So there's a trade. Can hardly see the arrow, but the arrow is there and out there. So finally after 7 o'clock, and this is actually the reason why some people wait till after 7 o'clock to trade. I mean, usually it's not untypical that I've got pretty good profit by the time 7 o'clock rolls around, but today was one of those lessons where on a slow, low volume day, if you want to, you can wait for a while and not have to fight it. I fought it a little bit too much for a low volume day, because there just really wasn't much follow through. All right, so here's a long trade, and I'm out here. I think we've got about at least 2 more trades to go. Let's see. I don't think I added to this next one. I think it was just a single entry. So here's that breakout again, though, right? And I think I was talking about sometimes it's better to wait after it kind of breaks through finally the minute average, to wait through for it to come back out and pull back. And so I was out here, didn't need to add to anything. It only pulled back to the minute average in the EMA. So that was easy. And then I think I snuck one more trade. I think I was taking a break. I think I stuck one more trade in to finish the morning off. Yeah, here it is. I mean, this would have been okay. I was kind of okay with the profit at that point, but I snuck this one in. I stuck one more trade in there and out, and that was my last trade of the morning. Wasn't super efficient, and I didn't trade any more in the afternoon either. So up 10 1/4 points, and so these low volume days can be kind of they can be a little bit tough, and I don't really. I think everybody hates low volume days. But I just can't lay my finger off to wait until after 7 because typically I do okay without too much trouble. So still working. I think the new EMA band is working pretty good. I'm still working on the code a little bit before I release it. It could be close to done now, but I'm trying to get it to be more CPU efficient. And for whatever reason, I got a problem in there that I can't figure out. When I put it kind of into the CPU efficient mode, it does some weird things, and I can't figure out why. I mean, I do the same things in other indicators um, in terms of transferring data around, so that it doesn't have to calculate everything on every chart. For instance, between this chart and my trading chart, but it's kind of doing some weird things. So I'm still trying to find out that code, and then I once I figure that out, and if I don't figure it out relatively soon, I'll start to try to wrap it up so I can put this into your hands. But I definitely like it more than the older EMA band, which kind of had an arbitrary space between it and the EMA. And this one is a calculated number based on whatever the market is doing. So I have more confidence that it's actually based in math and science instead of an arbitrary number on both sides. All right. Any questions on that? Have you been watching the new EMA band on my chart at all? I don't think I've been talking about it a little bit, and I think today was the first time that you were able to see it in its present form. Okay. Well, it's originally I had this new band, and it had one limit set based on the EMA, and the other one set on the minute average. But the EMA I think is much more important, so it's only based on the EMA now, and it creates the band from volatility, right? So if the market's pretty volatile, then this distance, right, is never the same, right? It actually it changes, depends on what type of day it is, and actually if it even slows down or speeds up within the day, right? So this number is calculated based on volatility, and this one is too, right? It's just got a different sensitivity factor in it, right? So this is the first one that's going to hit. If it gets kind of excited one way or another, then it might hit this one. It won't hit it real often, right? It'll hit the first one more often than it'll hit the second one. Let's just roll back a little bit. But that sum of, I'm going to go back to that opening where it spiked a little bit. I'm keeping going. This one, right? So see, it actually broke. It hit and broke the top one a little bit, right? And also, it had hit a couple of resistance points in there, right? It hit the 2x200 and mid S1, right? So that encourages it to pause a little bit. As you can see, it came down, and it did come back up like double top again. Hit the first one, not the second one, but hit that same 200 2x200, and then that's what really kind of brought it down. I mean, it can continue, right? But I was already in the short position and kind of fighting it, so I didn't want to reverse, especially since I I had something of an opinion, right? Because 4 up days, 4 pretty good up days, is unusual unless there's a lot of data available that says they should be doing that, and there just wasn't that much data available. They were operating off of opinion a few days in a row as well, that the Feds are either going to drastically slow down rate increases, or they're going to end up actually pausing, and they have to see what the bank credit scenario is going to be before they can really do that. All right, enough of that. Any questions on that, Sean? I haven't gone through the math in detail, and probably don't need to. I mean, just the trading concepts are the same, and these bands kind of are the same in the sense of in theory. I just think they're more statistically significant than just the arbitrary band that it was before, based on the EMA. Okay. All right. So watch it if you can. Like I said, I'm trying to get finished with the debug on it, and so I can get it out to you guys, and so. So when you get it on your system, then you can actually scroll back and see how it works and build some confidence in these things. And the other EMA band was useful. This one is more useful. It will be we'll hit. That's the other thing. We will hit this lower limit, right? There, even there, before we would ever hit the old EMA band. Right, so sometimes we just didn't hit the old EMA band, right? In this case, we would, let's just go through it. We would need to hit 475 to hit the EMA band from before. 475 is way up here, right? So you can see how this is reacting better, right? And this is even higher, right? This is the EMA here is at what? 138. It would need to hit 5. It would need to hit there before it even touched the EMA band, right? So these combinations of the volatility base, in addition to the, in this case, floor pivots and the resistance levels, I think gives you a little bit better insight in the market, and you don't really want to push it too much through these bands. All right, so there's your another brief overview and kind of what to look for. Okay, already have a good rest of your evening, and again, happy birthday. Eat some cake from me. All right, say hi to your family if you've got them around, especially your grandkids. All right, talk to you soon. Have a good evening.